Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening if you're watching later on. I'm Lisa with Lisa Boone Designs, and today on Creative Expressions, we're going to be making over this frame. So let me give you a better look at it. Um, so it is a great frame all on its own. It says, "A friend knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you've forgotten the words." It's a great sentiment, but it is dated and just worn. And bottom line is, I don't like it. So we're going to flip this and upcycle it. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to paint this background in pink. I'm at the store. I don't have all of my paint colors here. So I wanted petticoat pink. I didn't have it. And then I gave up. So I was just going to do it all white. And then I realized I had cowgirl coral and I had this oops paint, which is similar to Kissing Booth. So I waited for you so that we could go ahead and mix this up. I had on the counter here some white linen, which is the DIY paint cottage color, which is the all-in-one paint, and I wanted to see how well it would mix with DIY paint. I think I may have tried this once before, but I don't remember. So I just put 2 teaspoons of the white linen, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of cowgirl coral, which is thickening up, so I need to use this paint, and a little bit of Kissing Booth. So I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm going to add, there's a big hair. It looks like a bristle. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of this. See how chunky? Can you see? Look, I'll let it drop. Chunky. I love it. So if I let this get a little bit chunkier, I can get some texture. Speaking of texture, I did grab some baking soda, and I thought I would add a little bit of texture here. So let's look at the color that we have. A nice corally color. Actually, this is a really good color. Hi, Dina. Nathaniel Boone, you tried calling me just a second ago, didn't you? You have this instinctive thing that you know when I'm going live, and you want to call me right when I'm going live. This is a really soft pink. Okay, let's see what just a drop of this Kissing Booth-esque color would be. All right, let's see. Let's see what we have. I want to layer color. So we're going to put, the final color will be, what you call it? Tarnished pearl. But I wanted some pink because I'm going to be using one of my new napkins. I announced last week that I have some napkins that I had designed and had printed. They're available on my website, which is lisaboondesigns.com. This is a really, can you see that color? It's a really, really soft pink. Let's see what brush? I think I'm going to use this brush. Let me see what that actually looks like. It's very, very soft. So this has texture on it already. And what I thought I would do is I would sprinkle a little bit of baking soda. I don't want to mix it all in there because I may want to use this for something else. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I do want some texture. I think I want this just a little bit brighter. So that might be a lot. Let me back up a little bit. I want to be able to distress back to it. That's my thought. So again, I just used a little bit of white linen, which is the cottage color all-in-one paint. You can use DIY paint. I was just testing, playing. I had it right here. And then a little bit of cowgirl coral. I'm going to go ahead and mix the rest of this that I have in here. It's just literally a drop. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the counter, close this up. Let me put this right here. All right. And then let's see what we have. Because I don't want it to look like Pepto-Bismol, although it's going to be in the background. It might be perfectly okay. So I'm going to show you the napkin that we're going to use here in a second. Why not? Why not? A little bit goes a long way. DIY paint is so highly pigmented. The original clay-based formula is very, very highly pigmented, and a little bit goes a long way. When you're mixing colors, always start very small and then grow gradually. I'm going to put this here on the counter. And then, of course, you want to play with your paint. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to make up your own color. All right, so this is what we're having, and I'm okay with maybe even sprinkling a little bit. Actually, I kind of do like that. Can you see that? The marbling effect. I may have to bring those colors back. I think I will. Especially the, I just grabbed what was on the spoon, and I really, really like the way that that is looking. That marbly. Can you see that? Let me see. I can't tell if you can or not. So let me know if in the comments if you can see that or not. All right. And so what I was thinking was I'm going to sprinkle some baking soda, but I may not need to because I wanted to have some texture on here, and I think I'm picking it up. It's slight. It's not like a deep texture. And so I'm trying to get in. I'm painting over the frame. I am going to paint the frame probably in black, I think. So I'm wanting to get in there and make sure that I get it nice and good. I don't know at this point if I'm going to add any aging, so I definitely want to cover it up. And I think I'm just going to paint this regular. Have no texture here. And look at how great this is covering. So a lot of times when you get signs, you want to sand it down a little bit because you can see the text coming through. If it's been stenciled, you'll be able to see that. But it looks like this might be like a decoupage situation because I'm not seeing anything coming through. This is fun to do because of the clay in the paint. Of course, I've mixed the two paints together. I want to make sure I get underneath. See, there's that raised panel, and now you can really see it because it's contrasting against the orange. But I want to make sure I get all of it. And I might go back and add some wax. I don't know. Most of the time, that's what I prefer. But every now and then, I will just leave it clean. Just depends if it strikes me that way. Now, since I'm using the base as the cottage color has a sealer in it. I'm still going to go ahead and seal this piece before I add my top coat of tarnished pearl, and that's because I don't know how it'll do. I want to make sure that I cover it really well so that I can distress it back and I won't have any blending. I think I want to add a little bit. I'm going to pick up this Cowgirl Coral. I really like the way that is blending in. That marbling look right there. Can you see that? I'm just going to go ahead and dab a little bit. I've got all over here. And I just needed that little bit just to add some interest, really. I'm going to go ahead on the parts where I have a little bit too much. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the pink. Can you see those highs and lows? It looks so so good. I can see a little bit of darkness on the background, but that also will add interest. So, but look at how well DIY paint covers in just one coat. I'm gonna go ahead and do all of this, just so that when I distress back, I'll get a little bit of that. All right. So on my second coat, actually no, I think I was gonna add it on my second coat. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle a little bit. I'm running out of room. I don't want this to fall. I didn't even open this yet. So let me know in the comments if you've ever tried mixing DIY paint to create your own color. It's so much fun. I love it. We call it mixology. Like seriously, so much fun. I just have a regular spoon here. I have baking soda here because I use it to clean. I'm just gonna sprinkle. And my husband recently came home with like 2 huge boxes filled with baking soda. I was like, what? What am I gonna do with all of this? I was like, well, I'll use it to clean because I use baking soda. I make my own cleaners and I use baking soda a lot for cleaning. This is not the baking soda that I eat because this baking soda has aluminum in it. I don't know if you knew that or not. I buy aluminum free for baking and for eating, for making my toothpaste. Fun fact. So I use this one strictly for cleaning. All right, so I'm just sprinkling that. Let me know if that is something that you knew. Did you know that? It's crazy what they put in food. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pounce where I have the baking soda. And I'm gonna let some of those white peaks, it'll harden over the paint. Just gonna do it lightly. And if I need to add another coat too, it will all make sense. Most of the time when I use baking soda, it's kind of like using salt wash. Salt wash is way better. You know, it's all about the products, right? You can get a similar look, but when you actually use salt wash, it is way better. I don't have any here, and I remembered that I had the baking soda. But it does do the trick for something like this. I'm really, really liking this. I don't know if it's coming across really well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side and go ahead and pull this over a little bit, and I'm gonna heat this up. I'm gonna move my brushes, however, because I do not want them to get ruined. Never have your brush next to the heat source because they're synthetic and they will singe and it will ruin. These brushes are, you know, they have a good value and they're worth a good bit of money. You don't want to replace them because you hit it with the hair dryer or the heat gun, especially the heat gun. I really like this soft pink color. So we're going to be using Tarnished Pearl. Tarnished Pearl is a gray white. It's one of the 5 whites that we have in DIY paint. And it's really one of my favorite. Did not know that baking soda had aluminum. Watching from Wyoming. Hey! Let me see. Debbie? It says Debbie? It's hard. Whenever the YouTube comments come up, it's red against the black. And I have such a hard time seeing it, so I apologize. But I think it says Debbie. Yes. Fun fact. Search it out. A baking soda has aluminum in it. And we don't, we don't need metals, any more metals in our body. So you have to actually buy aluminum free, which is a lot more expensive, but it's healthier for you. Of course, all the cheap stuff is the stuff that is available and easier to purchase, right? It's crazy how that works. All the stuff that is synthetic and bad is inexpensive. Oh, you know what? I brought this out. I meant to grab a stencil, but then I did the texture. This is amazing stuff for raised stenciling. I forgot that that's one of the ideas that I had originally. Okay, so, and I can feel that texture. It is so good. So now I think I'm good with this one. I think what I want to do now is go ahead and grab my, oh, this is getting hot, my tarnished pearl. So I have a brand new can. I'm going to make room. I'm going to move up because you can't see. Okay, I have a brand new can. The cans are so awesome because they come with these 3 metal things that close the can so that they will not spill during shipping. I love that. They take extra measure. And so I wanted to open it live so that if you've never seen a brand new can or jar of paint, I want you to see what it looks like. It is so amazing. So normally you do not have to stir this. I am going to stir it because this has been sitting on my shelf for a good bit. Usually you don't have to stir it, but I am going to stir it just a little bit. Can you see how gray that is? Can you see how thick that is? I just love the original formula of DIY paint. I'm learning to love the cottage color, so I've been using it a lot more, getting familiar with it, and I am enjoying it. But there is just something about the clay-based formula. I do want to tell you, I had to pivot this morning. So my intentions were to paint a vanity. I wanted to paint this vanity. I've had it here at the shop for a while. Somebody gave it to me, one of my friends locally. And so I was going to paint it. It's in really bad shape. And I knew that it was, but I thought it was structurally sound. And last night when we moved it to get ready, we noticed that the top of the vanity, you know how it has like 2, you know, the old school vanities that are really low, the 2 tops, especially one side, was lifting up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to bring my brad nailer and my air compressor. I forgot it, and I forgot all about it. And I cleaned it, and it was painted with latex, which is my #1 no-no, right? I'm sorry, it's hot in here. I cannot stand latex paint. And so it's chipping, you know, because when latex paint fails, it gets rubbery. It is not something that you can fix. You have to probably take all the paint off. But this is good. It's chippy. I think I can salvage it and not have to take all the paint off. But I do have to do some repair. So then I was like running around the store. Need my water gun. Was running around the store and I was trying to figure out, like, oh no, I'm going live in just a little bit. And good thing that Friday nights are date night, and we usually stop at Goodwill, and my husband was trying to tell me not to get anything else. Good thing we went to Goodwill because I picked up this frame. I'm like, see, I knew there was a reason. There was a reason why I had to go to Goodwill. It saved me today because everything that I had in the store, I have recently redone. All right, so I'm going to hit it with the tarnished pearl. Now, the tarnished pearl, like I said, see, it's picking up that texture. It's a gray white. And what's really interesting about the tarnished pearl, if you use it as a base coat, like, you know, you're painting, you're going to be painting a piece, it looks like it's not covering well. So I always say, when you're using tarnished pearl, now I'm using here as a top coat, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But when you're using it, paint it like you normally would. Don't overpaint because you never want to overpaint DIY paint. You just want to paint it and then let it dry. And it comes together. It's more painted than what you think. See right here, this is looking a little bit washed out. I may have put too much water. I'm going to go ahead and dry this, and then we're going to see where we're at. I'm going to move this brush. Now, when you use baking soda or salt wash or any texture, make sure that you wash your brush right away. I really like to have like a jar, and I put my brushes in there, and I should have brought one out, but I decided to do this at the last minute so I don't have something to put it in, because the texture will harden and it will ruin your brush. I usually like to use a chip brush. Really, that's what I should have used. But again, kind of flying by the seat of my pants here today. All right, I'm definitely gonna do another top coat with the white, or I might hit it with the white linen, we'll see. Because I'm decoupaging. See how much lighter it's getting? Do you see the difference? It looks so pink. It looks transparent. This is what Tarnished Pearl does. Gravel Road is a gray, the lightest gray that we have. It does it as well. You have to trust the process and just, it looks translucent, like it's not really covering. If you continue to paint, you're gonna waste paint, and DIY paint goes a long way. You don't wanna waste it. Okay. So I didn't paint over everywhere because I knew I was going to be distressing, and I can see some of that color coming through. It's looking really good. Some of that texture. I don't see any of that orange, the original color. I don't see any of it at all, which is good because I really did not use a lot of paint on this, honestly. I'm going to have a lot of pink, that pinky color. I'm gonna have to find something else to paint with it. All right, so here's what I want to do. I'm gonna move my brush over here. I am gonna paint this in black. I'm gonna leave it black. I'm gonna do black velvet, but it needed a touch up. It wasn't really good, so it needed a good touch up. And knowing me, I will probably add a little bit of gold because I love the gold. This is a new brush for me too. This is the Klingon FA40. They came out with this angled, it's flat, but it's angled. Wait, let me hold it here. Can you see the angle? Well, maybe here. The camera's opposite. It's angled. I don't know if you can tell or not. But I like it because it's not too thick. It doesn't hold too much paint. Because when I'm doing quick projects, I don't want to throw this paint away, and that's what's going to end up happening. All right, I'm going to put this to the side here in a second, and I'm going to pull out my napkin. And I'm just going to dry this very quickly. And we're going to start taking apart my napkin that I designed. I'm really excited about them. I've had several packs sell. They're available on my website, lisaboondesigns.com, if you haven't seen them. They are 8x8 dinner napkins, and I want to show you how large they are. We're going to go ahead and put my heat gun there so I don't get burnt. I'm going to move this over here while I do this part. So this is one of the napkins. Here, let me show it close up. So all of them but one, I think my sunflower one, it doesn't have scripture. They all have scripture. This is Matthew 5:6. So look at how large. Now, unfortunately, hey Beth, unfortunately, I wasn't able to print over the whole thing. So I tried to maximize the design. So it is a 3-ply, so I left it on there to show you. What I find really intriguing about this napkin is the texture of the napkin. It feels like a cloth. It feels like material. And so these 2 plies, I save them. If I buy napkins, thank you, Beth. If I buy napkins in the store, which I have a huge haul, and I have actually put them in bundles, random bundles. They're available on my website as well. I'm sharing all of my hauls with you. I think I dropped my... Yep, I did. I dropped my water pen. So what I do with the whites is I layer. I like to see how thin this is. I will use this in mixed media to, as is, to push back a background. But I also will, actually I should start down here. I also will use it in my printer. I will print stuff that I want printed, like on my toner printer, and I can decoupage with it. I can do text with it, or I can do images. If you use an inkjet printer, I'm just cutting this with my water pen so that I can decoupage these. You printed on a napkin and then, wait. You printed on a napkin. I actually had these made. A company made them for me, but I have printed on napkins before. I take the napkin, the white, then leftover. So see, this has so much white, so don't throw it away. And then you have your 2 plies. I put it, I put it with tape, attach it to my copy paper, and I will put it through the printer and like put some text on something to make a sign, or I will maybe an image. You know, my toner one is only black and white, so you know I'm mindful of that. And then if I use my inkjet printer, you have to seal it before you decoupage it because it's water. Um, yes, this is so much fun, Beth. You have to try it. The other thing that I like to do with these is that I stamp on them. And so I will take the IOD stamps or, you know, rubber stamps that I have, and I will stamp on here and then decoupage, especially if you're wanting to layer decoupage, because the napkins are so great to decoupage with because they're see-through. They blend right into your background. So they're so easy to decoupage with. And it's just so much fun. So, you know, whether I'm doing mixed media or even decoupaging on the side of drawers, I like using napkins for the sides of drawers. It's so much fun to add a little bit of color. So sometimes I paint it, the background, so that the decoupage will pop. And sometimes, depending, I haven't. It just, you know, it just depends on the color. If it's really, really dark, then I paint it. So I'm just using this water pen along the edge of the corners. It's not, there we go. The water was like not coming out. So I don't know if you can tell, I went too wide. I went too wide with that. Let me see if I can, hold on. I can't see. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. Let me see. Back it up a little bit. There. Okay. See, I went, where? The water right there went too much. So when I do that, I just hold where I don't want it to rip. I'll just hold it, and then I'm just carefully, it's hard for me to do that right there at this angle, but and then I'll just let it dry. So, okay, where's the thing? Stamping on it. Yeah, where have you been? LOL, Christy, where have you been? I love to stamp. I'm just going to rip these up. So Matthew 5:8 is behind it. I like that there's like just random text. It's a script. It's a beautiful font. And so I like that. I love script. So I'm just going ahead and doing this. I use these on the ATC cards that I make. If you're unfamiliar with what ATC cards are, artist trading cards, and I have a subscription group, and there's 4 of us that are doing it. I curated the September box, which was so much fun, and my friend Amanda is going to do the October box, and then my friend Michelle, she did the August, and then Grace is doing the November box, and then we start over. So it's been so much fun. We have such a great group of ladies that are joining us on this ride, and so we use napkins a lot for ATCs because, I mean, see how this little ATCs are like playing cards, so they're 2x3. So when I was designing this napkin, I'm thinking mixed media, I'm thinking ATC, I'm thinking, you know, home decor. So that's kind of what my thought process was. So all of them are a little bit different. I have 2 butterfly napkins just because I love butterflies. I did everything that I love. I love pink is my favorite color, and purple actually is my favorite color too, but like pink's my logo color. I love pink. I love scripture. I love butterflies, and then I love sunflowers. So I did a little bit of everything. And then I have some corally ones, and I love that color scheme. Reminds me of like cowgirl coral and petticoat pink and kissing booth. Whenever I blend those, I love that color combination. So I have a couple of those, and these girls, they just look so pretty. There's one with a mountain, and then one that like says you are chosen, you are You are loved. There's different ones. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. It's really cool. All right, so I'm just separating this. So now how you see how you have one napkin, but now you have, oopsie, all, see, you just rip it where you want it. You tell it what to do. All right, so now I have all of these little things that whatever I don't use here, I'm gonna use on some ATC cards for sure. So I'm just gonna move these and I'm gonna decoupage them. And my idea is, so that you can kind of know where I'm going, is I'm going to put this transfer. This is from the Brocante. The Brocante is a great transfer because it has a lot of little things. And so I'm thinking about putting this here. So what I like about napkins is that I can audition kind of where they're gonna go, and I could figure out, and look at this pink color and the coral. I didn't even realize it does have a little bit of coral and a little bit of tarnished pearl. Good choice, good choice. So I may put the little thing here. And so the ones that are, I have obvious corner ones. Where did it go? I have some obvious corner pieces. I can have these coming out of here, or I can have them, you know, coming out of here. Oh, there's my friend. Oh, he tried waving at me. Oh, I didn't see him. He's my friend that walks the dog every week. I mean, he's on time all the time. I mean, how many times he's walking when I'm on the live? He's got a schedule. He's so sweet. He smiles so big when I wave at him, and he knows that I see him. I need to talk to him one day. We've never talked. I mean, because I'm usually doing a live. Okay, here's another little butterfly. I really like this. I think I'm going to have this coming out of here. Look at how pretty. What do you guys, can you see it? Do I need to, let me back out a little bit. How's that? Let me see, a little bit more maybe. Okay. Can you guys see that really well? Okay. So this is a corner. So let me put that there. Because I don't want it everywhere. I don't want it everywhere. I'm just kind of coming up with a design plan, and I'm not even sure if I want some here. Let me see. Trying to figure it out. I may put the butterflies on here and then do the flowers. So I want it to be, I'm going to move this so that I can look at it really well. So I like that. And you can layer napkins. When you're decoupaging, you can layer them. I don't know if I want this big one. I don't want two big ones there. So maybe this one goes here. I don't want it matchy-matchy. I don't like that. I want it to be kind of like wallpaper, a little bit more organic, kind of. So that, okay. I think this is how I want it. All right, and we'll just see what happens. So I've got some, where did it go? Oh, I put it down here. I've got a little brush, and I've got some top coat, and I'm gonna move these. Okay. So my favorite medium, I'm just gonna do it this way. This is how I like to do it. Napkins are so thin. Okay, wait, I need to go this way. Napkins are so thin that you can lay this and you can go from the outside in, inside out, inside out, and with a soft brush, you can hit it. It will decoupage very well because it's so thin. It's so easy to use. You just put it exactly where you want it. So the other way that you could do it is, and I don't have any plastic wrap, but I'll just demonstrate. You would go ahead and you would apply your top coat, then you would put your napkin, and then you would get like plastic, or you could put a gloved hand, and then you would, get it all going down straight, nice and smooth. I find it just as easy. Just you start in the middle and then just work it out. Work out the bubbles with the brush. And make sure you get it all down. And it usually goes on fairly easily. Sometimes you might get some wrinkling, but that doesn't bother me. I know some people are really bothered by that. Alright, so I'm going to have this really close to the edge. And see, as soon as I hit it with the brush, it penetrates, it goes right through. Alright, so see, I have this one right there on that edge. I'm just going to go ahead, and whatever was extra is going right on that top, and it's just melting. Just melts right in. And then now if I want to add a little bit more, it gives me the idea. So I'm going to just hold this tight. And you want to be careful. They're very fragile, but they're even more fragile when they get wet. So you don't want to like push and tug because they'll rip. So I'm going to have this coming out here. And whatever's extra, later on, I could cut it off, or I can rip it off carefully while it's wet. It's tricky. Usually I like to wait. All right, so this is the last one. And you can see how it becomes pretty transparent here. So I have this napkin. I'm going to put this one here. All right. I'm probably going to have to add one more down here, actually. Oops. It rolled up, but I was able to roll it back. I think the key, use a small brush that's soft. Use a light touch. All right, so I'm going to put this one here. This one is small, maybe over here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just get a good coat of medium all over. It just helps everything to be one. I didn't distress like I had planned because of the way that I painted it. I let some of that color come through. So it's kind of the same thing. You would want to definitely distress it before, but like I said, I kind of did that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this so that I can distress back to it. Show some of the pink on the sides there. And I am going to seal this because I am going to add a transfer. And so since I did put some of the clay base, I'm not sure how well you take the transfer without sealing it. So I might as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and seal everything up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the heat gun. Let me know in the comments, have you used napkins for decoupaging? And if you haven't, or if you've had issues, what, here, let me show it to you, there we go. What are your concerns? Do you have any concerns? Do you have any issues or anything that you've tried to do and that was coming up a little bit. I have to move this a little bit. I forgot to get the extension cord for the heat gun. So if anything bothers you, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. How am I getting calls? I'm glad I'm using Switcher because if I was using just my phone, I mean my iPad, it would interrupt the live. But I actually have it on Do Not Disturb, so I'm not sure what's going on. Alright, so you want to be careful with it when you're heat gunning your top coat because it'll bubble. If you're not moving it around, you have too much heat in one spot, it will start to bubble, which it started right there. So I'm just gonna hold off for a second, let it cool off. Let me get this back. I guess there's another. All right, there we go. So look at that. So this one was an end, and I don't like that. So what I will do is I will paint over it. You could leave it, maybe it doesn't bother you. I don't like edges. I like it to be more organic. So this one has an edge, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna back brush it some. I had too much paint there, and I'm going to kind of try to blend in. And like I said, this tarnished pearl is so deceiving. It's so deceiving. So I'm gonna add a little bit there. And you could actually do that all around if you didn't want to see any of the, like the lines of the paper. It blends in, and if I would have done this white, it would have blended in even more so. So I'm just gonna hit it just like that. That's usually what I do. And then it'll look like it was painted over and it's like coming out. You can still see it. It makes it look a little bit more vintage. That napkin is coming up a little bit, and that's because of the heat. So once it cools off, it will even out and it will do just fine. All right, so I'm not gonna hit it with the heat gun. So the only thing I have to do is I need this to be totally dry and totally cool to add my transfer. So now I'm adding my transfer, and I really like that contrast between this dark. This isn't black, it's like a brown black. But once I paint my frame, it's going to kind of make it make sense. And I liked a lot of times to look at it on the camera. So I'm going to show it to you here. This is what we're getting. So it's a nice soft, like I could see this in a nursery room, in a guest room, in a bathroom. I think it would look quite lovely. Really nice and soft. What do you guys think? I want to take the black paint. So let's do that, because that's something that I can do. And of course, I don't even know that I have an extra brush. So I like using black velvet. It's my favorite black. I don't know why. It's a soft black, but I just love it. Oh, I used the brush to stir. That was supposed to be my brush because you don't usually have to stir DIY paint. On a rare occasion, you might, but normally you don't. All right, let me wipe the excess, get that in the can. I hate wasting this luscious paint. So I'm gonna just wipe this with the baby wipe. Good as new. And then I love black velvet. So once it's just gonna freshen it up. There was a little bit, of dings. I mean, it was in the Goodwill, so it is not in great condition. And it's hard to tell because it's black, like if you're getting good coverage. But usually with black, I only use one coat. I may have a couple of touch-ups here or there, but that's usually all that it is. I can usually just do one coat with it. If I'm doing furniture, I go ahead and I do the second coat just because it's furniture. But sometimes it's like really 1.5. Like, ooh, that's a lot of paint. I want it all to be the same color, so I'm making sure I'm getting my sides. And this has a lot of detail, so I'm going in there and making sure I'm getting all those views. That's why I chose this small brush. All right, I'm gonna get this side real quick. And it's just cleaning this up. It's just making it look fresh and new. I really like it. All right, and then of course I'm gonna paint the inside of it as well. And I will add gold. I already know it. I'm gonna add gold because it's gonna pick up all of the details. There's like these indents in the sides of the frame, and then in here, this is still wet. I need to be careful. There's so much detail. That's why I wanted a little bit of the pink to come through, because then you will be able to really see it. So I'm going to take my time because I really want to make sure that I don't get any black, because I have a lot of the napkins really close. So I will take my time with that later, and especially after this has dried. I can still see some of the top coat is wet. It's dry, wet over here on the sides. But I just want you to get an idea of what it's going to look like. You know what? I think I kind of I wish I wouldn't have painted right there. I could always go over that. I might leave that inside frame now that I'm looking at it. I think that really makes it look really nice. So I think what I'll do is I'll go with a small brush and clean that, because I started to paint in there. You see right there? So I'll clean that up because I think I like that coming out a little bit. And then of course I will add gold to it. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here, but I will post a picture of it when it's done, and I'll post it on the YouTube channel and also on the Facebook. And then be looking out for the latest chest that I did. I'm gonna have some teaser pics here and just a few little bits of the before and afters, and then I'll do a big reveal tonight of it. I'm really excited about it. I did a YouTube video yesterday, so you can check that out. All of my links are on my tree link and on my website. If you're looking for the products that I used today, you can find them on my website, lisaboondesigns.com. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sprinkling and commenting and hanging out with me for a bit. I hope you have an incredibly blessed day.